Hey everyone, I'm John Sisson, and today we're taking a look at the newly announced Samyang 75mm f1.8 lens FE. Now, this is a full frame lens made for currently the Sony E-mount system, but can also be used on crop sensor cameras like the a6000 series. But just a point of mention, it is going to be 112.5mm due to the crop factor. Just to let you know, this is also a autofocusing lens, and that is part of Samyang's tiny but almighty series of lenses. So this actually joins the 18mm f2.8, 35 2.8, the 24mm f2.8, and the 45mm f1.8. So this is the longest in that series of lenses, and it does keep it to a reasonable weight and size. If you are taking a look at this lens, it's going to be great for portraiture, low light photography, even street photography. This might be a good option for you, but it is not limited to those applications. So you can use it for landscape, scenic shots, anything like that. I did take this out to the Philippines. I took some amazing photos with it, and I did try to use it through its paces and see what it was capable of. And Samyang did actually add a little switch here, which is I guess a new feature that wasn't previously featured on other Samyang lenses, but we'll go into more detail about that right now. So I'm going to take you through its design, what you can expect of it, features, and so on. In terms of image quality, this is a pre-production sample, so I can't really comment on it, but I will say it is pretty promising at the moment. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. Alright, so this is what the lens actually looks like. So it is attached to my Sony a7 III, but before I go more into detail about it, this switch is what is the differentiating feature on Samyang's other lenses in its tiny but almighty series. So it is a new switch, it is a custom switch. So just to let you know, if I'm shooting in manual or direct manual focus and I have it in mode 1, this will act as your normal focusing ring. And if I have it on mode 2, it's actually going to change my aperture. So obviously this will only work when you're in aperture priority or manual, and this just acts as an aperture ring without having a dedicated aperture ring itself. So that's a pretty cool feature. I did see that on Samyang's press release that they were going to have this feature updated if you want to use different features and settings, but I am assuming that you're going to need the Samyang lens docking station to update this as well. You can see as well, it does take 58mm filters, so nice and cheap filters, doesn't have to be too expensive, especially if you just wanted to simply protect the front element of the lens. It doesn't have any weather seals, unfortunately, but from Samyang's tiny but almighty series, none of those lenses have it either, so I think that's to be expected, and I think Samyang are just reserving it for your higher end lenses. Now also, it does come with a plastic pedal type lens hood, just attaches on simply like this, locks in place, and it does add a bit of length to it, but it does protect the lens from any flare and sunlight. But as you can see, I am using this on my Sony a7 III. It is very sturdy in the hand and actually doesn't add too much weight, doesn't feel too front heavy as well, so that's also a great feature. Now the lens is compact and light. Now I love using it because of this purpose, and with my recent trip to the Philippines, it made taking street photos unobtrusive. Using it with the a7 III, it felt very well balanced without it being too front heavy, and with the lens hood attached, it didn't add too much size in terms of length either. Having a 75mm lens is quite new to me, with the closest focal length I've used being an 85mm. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I find it a good focal length because while it's still good for portraits, it can still include a decent amount of space for your subject's surroundings, like using it for environmental portraiture. When it comes down to autofocus speed, the lens was able to pick up subjects with ease, and using it with Sony's IAF, it does the job for both humans and animals. Point-to-point focusing worked well for stills, and when it came to video, it was able to keep up with my movements walking towards the camera, all of which is done with Samyang's new stepping motor. While this is a pre-production sample, taking a quick look at the images, they look very promising, and I have no doubt this will be a great lens for anyone that wants to have a light alternative kit for portraits and street photography to their mirrorless setup. Now just for comparison's sake, I do have the 18mm f2.8 the 45mm f1.8 and the newly announced 75mm f1.8 side by side to each other, and you can see the sizes is fairly minimal and the weight is very similar as well. And just another comparison, I do have the Samyang 85mm f1.4 and the Samyang 75mm f1.8, and obviously you can see the difference is quite substantial, quite a bit heavier and larger. So this is going to be a good alternative for anyone that wants to use it for portraiture, but still doesn't want to take away too much in terms of low light performance. Now I hope you enjoyed that first look of the Samyang 75mm f1.8 FE lens. Now be sure to subscribe to my channel for more Samyang lens reviews and tutorials. And don't forget to check my Facebook and Instagram for more sample photos and photo updates. Don't forget to take a look in the description down below for more information about this lens, as well as affiliate links that do help support the channel. Now going forward, I do think this is going to be a popular lens. It's very unique as well, and it's going to be great for anyone that wants to travel and wants to use a somewhat telephoto lens for light travel works, which is what I've been using it for. So if you're going to be using it for street photography or portraiture, this is going to be a great lens to go with. Now, pricing isn't confirmed yet, but I can assume it's going to be cheaper than the 85mm f1.4, and I think this might be a better alternative to some of the other lenses that are currently on the market. But that's about it for me. If you have any questions, like I said, please feel free to leave them down below. And until then, happy shooting and thanks for watching.